What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, soon to be Hall of Famer, former two division world champion, retired 33 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 13 wins by way of knockout, turned colorful analyst and boxing pundit for Top Rank and ESPN Boxing, Timothy Desert Storm Bradley. He was featured on Ak and Barak SiriusXM radio show. Go check out Ak and Barak SiriusXM radio show, in which they asked Timothy Bradley about this past Saturday's night's probably fight of the year between undefeated two division world champion Mexican superstar boxer who is currently now the junior lightweight WBC world champion Oscar Valdez, as he upset and dominated and knocked out former reigning WBC junior lightweight world champion Mexican superstar boxer Miguel Berchelt in dramatic fashion. With that said, Timothy Bradley, I believe, went a little over the top with his assessment of what Oscar Valdez did. He goes on to say that it was such a huge performance that Oscar Valdez has punched his ticket into the Hall of Fame. Now, Oscar Valdez, he was a world champion at featherweight at 126. He was the WBO featherweight world champion. He moved up to 130. He challenged Miguel Berchelt for the WBC title. And yes, he was the underdog in that fight. He dropped Miguel Berchelt 3 times in the fight, ultimately stopping him in the fight in the 10th round. With that said, Timothy Bradley is saying that Oscar Valdez is now a Hall of Famer. He says that, get this, even undefeated two-division world champion, former 4-time world champion, who's currently simultaneously holds the WBA at 130, 135, superstar boxer Gervonta Tank Davis, he avoided Miguel Berchelt. Timothy Bradley goes on to say, trust me, I know these things. Gervonta Tank Davis and his promoter, legendary world champion, former 5-division world champion, former pound-for-pound king, retired undefeated 50-0, the man known as Money, Floyd Money Mayweather, who turned CEO and promoter of Mayweather Promotions, who promotes Gervonta Tank Davis. He states that they did not want to face Miguel Berchelt. He said Miguel Berchelt was the boogeyman. He was seen as very unorthodox, big, strong, with a lot of power, and he was avoided. And he says not even Gervonta Tank Davis wanted to face that monster in Miguel Berchelt. He avoided Miguel Berchelt. He says, but Oscar Valdez, he went up, he challenged Miguel Berchelt, and he did it and dominated in dominating fashion. So he states that Oscar Valdez now has punched his ticket into the Hall of Fame. I believe that that's a little premature on the part of Timothy Bradley, and I believe it's a little irresponsible on the part of Timothy Bradley because he has a lot of fans that he can sway, okay? A lot of people look to Timothy Bradley's knowledge in the sport. Did Oscar Valdez pull off the unthinkable against Miguel Berchelt? Yes, he was the underdog. He was a huge underdog, okay? But did Andy Ruiz Jr., after he dramatically dropped Anthony Joshua 4 times and stopped him ultimately in their fight to become the first Mexican unified heavyweight world champion superstar boxer, did he become a Hall of Famer instantly after knocking out Anthony Joshua? No. Okay, Oscar Valdez, he has a bright future ahead of him. He's still very young. He's undefeated, 29-0. He has the future ahead of him, definitely. Okay, the future is bright for Oscar Valdez. But to say he punched his ticket and he did something that not even Gervonta Tank Davis could have done, he's saying that Gervonta Tank Davis, he avoided Miguel Berchelt. Well, I believe that Miguel Berchelt is tailor-made for Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta Tank Davis is far more explosive, far more athletic. He's unorthodox. He is a great boxer, high ring IQ, and he has power in both hands. I believe that he would have repeated what Oscar Valdez did, maybe even earlier, because when he got Miguel Berchelt held early in the fight, and his legs would never recover throughout the duration of the fight, as long as it lasted, Gervonta Tank Davis would have closed the show much earlier, okay? Oscar Valdez is 29-0, 23 wins by way of knockout. He's 30 years of age, stands at 5'5.5" with a 66-inch arm reach, okay? Yes, he beat the likes of Jason Velez. He has some good wins on his record. But to say he's a Hall of Famer currently right now, I believe it's a little premature, and I believe Timothy Bradley is being a homer. His career was signed to Top Rank in ESPN and HBO with legendary promoter, Top Rank CEO Bob Arum, and I believe he's being a little bit of a homer. Miguel Berchelt is with Top Rank, so I believe that that's the route that Timothy Bradley is currently going down. When he's stating that Gervonta Tank Davis, who's 24-0, 23 wins by way of knockout, 26 years of age, so he's younger than Oscar Valdez, and he's only 5 fights short of Oscar Valdez. He stands at 5'5.5" with a 67.5-inch arm reach. Okay, he just defeated 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer Leo Santa Cruz in dramatic fashion in his last fight. So with that said, if you match up Oscar Valdez and Gervonta Tank Davis, I believe that Oscar Valdez, gets knocked out in that fight with Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta Tank Davis is a better pure boxer. He's very explosive. He's a southpaw. He has a high ring IQ, and he can box, okay? So he's versatile. Now, that's not to take anything away from Oscar Valdez, because Oscar Valdez is very versatile in his own right, and he showed us that he could stay disciplined. He showed us that, he could be versatile. He has a lot of tools in the toolbox. But to say that Miguel Berchelt, had Gervonta Tank Davis, avoiding him, no, I don't believe that to be the case at all whatsoever. Miguel Berchelt, he was knocked out already previously in his career. So this wasn't the first time he was knocked out in his career. So for Timothy Bradley, Miguel Berchelt is 37 wins, 2 losses, 33 wins by way of knockout. He was knocked out twice. 2 times to Oscar Valdez. He was knocked out back in 2014 against Luis Eduardo Flores. So with left hooks, right? A repeated cycle. Okay, we saw that he didn't make Miguel Berchelt stands at 5'7", 71-inch arm reach. Yes, he's very big. He's 29 years of age. He's very big for 130 pounds. But with that said, when he was knocked out back in 2014, we saw that he was getting hit with the overhand left, overhand right. And on the top of his head, and he was knocked out. Okay, similar. Oscar Valdez, he repeated the similar, game plan, and guess what? Miguel Berchelt once again didn't make any adjustments. He got hit with the left hook all night. He got hit with the right hook all night. He got hit with the straight right hand all night. He got hit with the jab all night. And he was irresponsible on defense. Okay, he came rushing in when he was brutally knocked out. He came rushing in, wailing his hands with no power on them. He did not have any legs. If you listen to Andre Ward, when Timothy Bradley says, and Joe Tessitore, why isn't Miguel Berchelt tying up? Okay, and Andre Ward, he states he's not tying up because he doesn't know how to tie up. Okay, so that lets you know that yes, he has some very huge chinks in his armor. This is not to take anything away from Oscar Valdez because, again, he was the underdog. I myself thought that Miguel Berchelt was going to get the knockout victory in the 10th round. I was wrong. Oscar Valdez got the knockout victory in the 10th round. So with that said, this is not to take anything away from Oscar Valdez. But we've seen this movie before. We've seen him get knocked out in 2014. And it was in a similar fashion, okay? He was getting hit with the left hook, getting hit with the right hand. He made no adjustments to it, and that was all she wrote. He is a big, strong guy for 130, so he overwhelms his opponents, and he is skilled, okay? He doesn't have the athletic ability, but he is skilled, and he has a lot of power in both hands. But defensively, he gets hit with anything but the kitchen sink, okay? So that's not, he overwhelms his opponents. So if you put him in the ring with Gervonta Tank Davis, I don't believe that Gervonta Tank Davis at all whatsoever would avoid Miguel Berchelt. I believe it was the business of the sport of boxing, seeing as though they're on 2 different sides of the streets. We understand that, and Timothy Bradley, amongst most people, should understand that because Timothy Bradley, he stated in an interview when asked about why didn't he fight undefeated unified WBC IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer Earl the True Spence Jr. when Earl Spence Jr. was his mandatory challenger. Timothy Bradley went on a rant talking about when has Top Rank done business with the PBC, Premier Boxing Champions, and founder and advisor Al Heyman. So Timothy Bradley says, we've never done business with them. So I've never avoided Errol Spence. We just never done business with them. When have we done business? So Timothy Bradley amongst anybody, he should understand that they don't do business that often. And so to say that Gervonta Tank Davis, with his skill set, was avoiding Miguel Berchelt is a complete irresponsibility on the part of Timothy Bradley. So, and to say that Oscar Valdez punched his ticket to the Hall of Fame is an exaggeration. But let's see how this all unfolds and plays out. That's all I got for y'all. Let's see if they make the fight with Oscar Valdez and Gervonta Tank Davis. Because if Oscar Valdez, now we know the triangle theory doesn't always work in the sport of boxing, but if Oscar Valdez is the greatest Timothy Bradley claims him to be, then he should be able to do the same thing to Gervonta Tank Davis. Let's see if Bob Arum and Top Rank and ESPN are willing to put him in the ring with Gervonta Tank Davis. But that's all I got for y'all. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share the videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.